Yeah, afterwards we will send it to the
main
so
I've started the recording right now. All right, so if it happens just on my computer, then we will share this later on. Yeah, so perhaps I can also share the screen right now. Let me see. Yeah. This one, okay. Yeah, like this. Can you see the slides right now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's fine. I said about these main features about of AdaStamp. Support for PDF signing, so that these signatures are visible. This might be quite difficult to achieve, but we are working also on extending the PDF standard so that the other platform of digital signatures will be available to insert inside the PDF document, because they do not confirm at the moment. Okay. This is the diagram that shows how the client software, because the AdaStamp will be a library for developers. So how the client software will upload the document and then get the document from the IPFS storage. So the main idea here, I don't want to describe this diagram in very detail, but the idea behind that is that the document contents have to be encrypted, so that just the owner and the people that the owner gives rights will be able to decrypt and read the document. And the key to decrypt the document will be then encrypted with the public key of the owner of the document. So thanks to this, only the owner of the document will be able to decrypt the key for the document, and then of course decrypt the document. This is something that happens here: decrypt document key, and then write on the blockchain the information with the document key encrypted by the public key of the owner. And then once we want to get the document, we have to decrypt it with the document key that has to be decrypted by the wallet, by the owner wallet. So that's the way how the owner himself can get his document. The other diagram shows how the signature will be performed. So first, the owner of the document will add the document signer. So will ask the AdaStamp to include the document signer as a person who has access to the document, because of course the document signer needs to get the document from the IPFS. And decrypt it, so he needs to have access to the document. So it's more or less the same part as on the previous slide. The only difference is that we encrypt with the signer public key, not with the owner public key, because we want to get the rights to the document to the signer, to the person who will sign the document. And of course, we will notify the signer. So that's why the StreamCardano notification service goes here. And then when the signer wants to sign the document, AdaStamp needs to calculate the hash, because of course we sign just the hash. Then his wallet will prepare the signature, which will be stored just on the blockchain. So then verifying the signature is just getting it from the blockchain as it is stored here. Okay, so that's more or less the idea. It will differ from the existing signature solutions, mainly because it will be distributed. It will be decentralized. So there is no single, let's say, party that manages these signatures. Everyone can use AdaStamp libraries to include it in their own applications, and signatures are stored just on the blockchain. So the possible applications of these solutions are, for example, when we have a document and we want it to be signed by some board members, let's say company board or something like this. So several people needs to sign some document. So we just include them as signers, and every one of them can sign in any order as they wish, and all these signatures will be stored on the blockchain. And in addition, if the document is a PDF, then the same signature could be stored inside the PDF as a visual signature. The other possible applications is, for example, signing terms of service. Once you register to some website or some application, we normally click that we accept the terms of service. So using AdaStamp, it will be possible to sign these terms of service in a more, let's say, valid way. So it's legal, a more legal way, let's say. So it's not be just clicking on I accept, but this will be stored as a real digital signature. The third possible application is let's say, log into some application with something like a trusted profile. So if our wallet is a trusted one, I mean it has passed a KYC procedure, then we might try this wallet as a trusted one, and we might use it just to log into the application by signing a very simple, very short document. This will be treated as a login attempt to some application. So instead of logging by specifying email and password, we might log in with a trusted profile to some, let's say, company application or government application, which requires us to prove our identity. Concerning the technology, we are going to provide a set of libraries so that any developer could use it in their own applications. And also a sample web interface for handling the documents, signing the documents, so that this could be incorporated in any application. This is the architecture of the solution as we imagine that. So you can see the AdaStamp smart contract which will be implemented on Cardano, but also the AdaStamp backend, which will use the smart contract, and also will use StreamCardano notification service and subscriptions to get information, for example, that some document has already been signed. Well, also, of course, IPFS pinning service for pinning the document, so it is available for a long time. And of course, some sample front end to use the backend application. And of course, because what we are going to provide is just a set of libraries, then this backend could be prepared by any developer. So it's not only our solely solution, but this could be any application that just uses these libraries. All right. So I think that's all from me. Michał, could you pass over?
Yes. Do you see the same slide?
Yeah, at the moment, yes. So suppose you are sharing the screen right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another component that many, because Szymon I talked about indexer, StreamCardano. Then Szymon talked about signing PDF documents, right? The documents with permanent look that are essential part of user experience. So whenever you go to the website in the conventional web, you sign PDF. Whenever you sign the contract, you sign PDF. But before you sign this PDF, using AdaStamp library, hopefully, you may want to verify the identity of the person. So because of this, we plan and will submit the certain ID project for Fund 10, where we propose a KYC and KYB, which is like know your business, basically introducing the business or introducing the user for smart contracts and decentralized applications in a different way than conventional applications do, because conventional applications do it in such a way that they basically store all your personal data. We don't want it. We want data sovereignty and privacy preservation. So we want user to decide when his personal data will be used. That has advantage of being much easier to scale, and that goes towards the goals of decentralization, but it has to be provided as a separate library or separate solution that another smart contract application may use. So basically, we hope that by checking documents with partners that can check the documents from 200 countries, you can pick the partner who will check the documents. Initially, we already have a preliminary agreement with one partner, but I do hope that there will be a freedom of choice here. So the market for basically KYC. And this market would be hosted on Cardano. So after the documents are checked, then for certain validity period, like 3 months or 2 years, a user will permit with their Cardano wallet to use personal data for one and particular purpose. So each time the smart contract will need to validate that this person, for example, is not from sanctioned country, that this person is unique and different than another person, because there is some grant that should not be cheated in some way by dispensing the same grant to the same person 100 times, or that the person who signs the document is of the name that is mentioned on the document. All these things are basically requirement for the smart contracts to legally work in most jurisdictions. And that's why we hope that this will be another essential decentralized tool in our tool chain for building smart contracts in 2023. So I would like to now move to the document that Szymon left for editing for everybody. And I hope if you have any questions or any things to add, we could add it there. So the question would be, what do you think, for example, what do you think would be the most important for further decentralization and decoupling with Cardano? Or maybe are any of you interested in presenting their own serverless platforms or solutions here during this meeting next month in January? You can basically log in here and add your text at any time. But you can also speak up and tell more about you. Maybe we can make round robin shifts so that we all introduce ourselves. Do you think it is a good idea? Soundiata, can you start? Or maybe a Jonathan? Yeah.
Hello, am I on? Sorry, this is covering my dinner time now, so I'm half in, half out. So I didn't catch it all. But it was interesting. I was one of the things that popped to mind when you was immutability of the data. So if you're signing documents, I know the whole issue with IPFS documents is that potentially the source can change and they may go offline. And you talked a bit about the perpetuity of some of these documents. That's one of the crucial things I think it would be good to fix on Cardano as a storage layer. A bit like Arweave or something that's looking for even more aspirations than just IPFS. You got any thoughts around that, or particularly for serving Cardano?
I think pinning is the key here, because once we pin the document, then it will not get lost or will not be altered by any means. Yeah, am I right, Michał?
Yeah, so basically, if we could have another system like IPFS with such interface like pinning, so basically when you upload the document, you just pin it and everybody can have their own copy. And then they decrypt it when they have rights to decrypt it. That I would hope that there would be another blockchain that basically serves just this purpose, data storage. I believe there are other companies that try to do this, and we intentionally designed AdaStamp with Shimon in such a way that we can use any system that presents this interface. So it is possible if you want to store the documents on S3, even though it is not decentralized, but maybe you want to have your documents in your own storage, right? In your own archive. It is possible to use a different storage medium than IPFS. If you have any particular storage medium here that presents similar interface, similar decentralized interface that we can just upload it and host it there, I would love to work to support it. At the moment, because of limited scope of the project, we need to deliver a working proof of concept, working prototype, right? That can be useful for other people. We don't plan to support more than one storage medium, but design allows it, yes. Actually, initial design from Fund 8 that's one of the reasons it was a little bit more expensive, because there was a plan to basically support multiple storage backends.
Okay. I guess if you've thought about it and put the plans in place to allow for more, then hopefully more funds will come to you and you can get it done. It's always the intention.
Hopefully, AdaStamp development would be self-funding after completion of the project. That's our hope. If we host it on StreamCardano, so we decouple the deployment costs and use the storage platform that is separate, like IPFS, that is separately developed, I think we can do this.
So I missed the very beginning. I guess you were talking about StreamCardano more than just AdaStamp. So I'm unaware, sort of, kind of. So how is StreamCardano set up? Is it like you mentioned serverless? So is it just like using Lambda AWS, or is it a bit more than that?
So it is set up using Kubernetes in the backend, but I dream of the day that it would be basically a decentralized service that you could just have a StreamCardano key and you connect to it and ask queries, because API and interface for it is basically that API of database hosting all Cardano blockchain data, right? Okay. So you can basically query your selected data very quickly, get a response very quickly. It's basically limited by link latency mostly. And then if it would be decentralized and it would answer from the closest regional StreamCardano center, it would be much better, right? Much faster.
And so
hello guys.
Hi. So StreamCardano. That's okay. One more thing. So StreamCardano is a suite that you can just spin up a Kubernetes instance and it provides a load of APIs. So a bit like the Dandelion service, or is it more than that?
Yeah, so basically most important API for StreamCardano that we believe is missing now is that of querying all the blockchain data in a read-only mode without additional issues. So basically you can query it and you can monitor it. So you can basically send a query to StreamCardano. You get initial answer, like what is the average transaction fee on the last block, right? Get initial answer, and then your user interface on the front end gets a message each time this answer is changed, right? So you basically can make a chart. That's actually one of our demos that we do not show yet because we are still working to polish and complete it. Is that basically in real time you see updating flowchart, updating chart of the average transaction fee. When new blocks comes after a certain delay, of course, for database to be updated, you see immediately the result. But of course, the most interesting application here would be you can do the same with the monthly swap rates, or you can do the same with Sunday swap rates, right? Or you can do the same with a list of people that signed the document, right? So basically put the smart contract for signing the document as our demos application for AdaStamp does. And then after new signature appears, you see in real time, Shimon has signed the document, right? Now we are waiting for only 2 more people.
And we get the notification also from the StreamCardano.
Yeah.
StreamCardano is feeding that data to you.
Yeah, basically.
No, that's cool. Sorry, Demoladia, you were saying something.
Oh yeah, you can call me Demi. Yeah. Hi guys. I'm new to the space, not the Cardano space, but this particular breakout room. It's nice to meet you guys. Hear you talk, Jonathan. Well, I am interested in the concept of serverless Cardano, but turns out it's actually a question I've been asking myself because I'm still very new to software development. currently I'm a firefighter, but I'm trying to move into software development, blockchain Web3 specifically, and the question of decentralizing almost everything, you know, every part of the of a software, every component of a software infrastructure has baffled me, because you know, just having the blockchain data decentralized, I don't think is enough. You know, I mean, what if the server goes down on the back end side, on the front end side? So that has also been a question on my end, but I'm actually glad to see that it's not just me. It's a lot of you know, smart people thinking about that as well. So glad to be here and looking forward to learn a lot from you guys about that. Currently learning Plutus and Haskell regarding building decentralized apps. And yeah, I'm just glad to be here. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Demilade. Actually, this whole confusion is one of the reasons why we started StreamCardano project. So we deployed a smart contract for Cardano 1 year ago and noticed that it was very hard to build user interface without querying and polling the blockchain all the time, right? So that's why we thought about basically keeping one connection open with minimal updates of data, minimal cost, so that each user interface can just connect to StreamCardano, to Cardano wallet, and then the whole application is basically hosted on the front end. So the next stage for the StreamCardano project, after we complete the current stage in June 2023, will be to go towards fully decentralized deployment of the front ends together with smart contracts. So basically, we also plan to have possibility to deploy from your Git repository with your smart contract in Plutus, with your front end in PureScript or Elm or JavaScript or TypeScript, and be free basically from most of these woes with, you know, having 3 different nodes like Cardano node, Cardano DP sync, a lot of servers that should be shared infrastructure, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's it's quite a lot to take in. Well, yeah, thanks. I'm just learning from you guys, you know. Yeah, thank you.
So Demilade, right? Or Demilade?
Oh, okay, it's pronounced, it's a Nigerian name. It's Nigerian, it's Demilade, but you can call me Demi. Demi is fine.
Demi.
Yeah, Demi is
So
fine.
Demi, you can look at the StreamCardano tutorials already, and just please send me an email. I will send you the beta key, because basically at this stage we distribute keys manually. In future it will be self-service, right? So you log in with your Cardano wallet and you get the key. And hopefully it will be helpful with your smart contract project.
Oh, okay. I would definitely, how do I get your mail?
Oh, sure. So basically, you can see us all at Megamake. So Shimon at Megamake, me at Megamake. These are our emails that I posted in chat. But you can also send at StreamCardano@megamake.com.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. You would be receiving my mail shortly. All right. Thank you.
Who wants to introduce themselves next? Maybe Soundiata? Are you here? Or maybe Faizu? Do you want to ask about anything or maybe introduce yourself? Just that we get familiar with the community. Bjorn?
Yeah, sure. Hi. Maybe just some basic questions. The AdaStamp project is already funded yet and underway, or is it also?
No.
No,
Okay.
AdaStamp is prepared. Yeah.
Okay, and the StreamCardano project is funded, and when was it funded? In Fund 9 or?
In
okay.
Fund 8. So we already have the tutorials. We already worked for 6 months. The plan was for after 6 months to already have public beta, but it was slightly more difficult. So we are at the closed beta stage, and we are heading towards the public beta basically.
Okay.
Because of fixing of all the issues, right?
Okay.
But you can actually use it already. It's just that there is no self-service for tickets. There is no self-service for creating accounts, such things. So the control panel doesn't work.
Okay. And for the AdaStamp project, you want to sign the documents. How do you want to do this? Do you anticipate some crypto wallet integration? What's the goal here?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the idea, to make the signature just using the wallet that holds the private key. So just integrate with the Nami wallet, for example.
Oh, okay. So, Mikhail, we already chatted a few days ago, and we are in the SSI space, and we are currently developing a browser extension wallet for DITS. So we have this scenario that you have your browser extension wallets, and you have your DITs and your verified credentials. And we are currently building this feature to log into a website with DITs. So essentially the same as a crypto wallet. We are only using Prism and a different algorithm. So we are using, or Prism is using this SECP256K1. And I guess you are using the Cardano algorithm. Would this also be an option to integrate like a browser extension wallet for SSI for your solution?
Yeah, so you mentioned DIDs. So I see one problem and one opportunity here. So first, for DID, there are things like Cardano DIDs for Cardano wallets. So there is opportunity to also use Cardano DIDs. There is potential problem because at the moment, Prism doesn't really support the smart contracts well.
Yeah.
So I think our ideal solution as a smart contract developer would be that DID is managed by smart contract. It can update the key that is used to sign it. So it holds a portfolio of keys potentially. One of these keys in the portfolio may be recorded as key for signing PDFs, for example. Mm-hmm. And the other can be for signing ADA transactions. The other can be actually even used for signing Ethereum or any other Bitcoin transactions, right? So what we would hope in the future is to have a single identity that you envisioned with Atala that supports multiple signatures and does so in such a way that you can just, query it in a smart contract. Is it this person, right? Is it up-to-date key? Because when you use the public key to sign it, if you don't know the date, if you don't have a hash of signature on the blockchain, you are really exposed to many attacks. For example, most of the crypto protocols have a limited lifetime, given the progress in computational power, and then post-quantum computing will come. And in 15 years, possibly all our Cardano wallets will need to be replaced because of this by a different wallet that uses post-quantum resistant algorithms, right? So you need to port your identity, your wallet, to new signature. And only way to assure that the signature using, say, ED 25519 or ED-DSA, right? I think Atala uses ED-DSA or EC-DSA, right? So different standard than Cardano is to know that it was made, the signature was made and recorded on the blockchain in the past, and trust the blockchain. Because you can already falsify MD4 hashes too easily. It's like casual exercise that students do in the university. With SHA-256, it's all right, but SHA-128 is considered broken already. So yes, we probably want a future solution that would allow upgrades of the credentials like Atala. For KYC, we will have to do it because KYC usually requires that the credentials are rechecked or revalidated every once in a while, right? Person is not dead, that the person still exists, and so on, right?
Yeah, or they might simply expire after some time. So
yeah.
But when you look at the AdaStamp project, there doesn't have to be a smart contract integration. So, I mean, that's maybe a different use case.
I disagree. Because we wanted to use, so signing PDF documents per se and putting the signature of the blockchain has been done already in Ethereum or Bitcoin communities. And it's kind of standard because people validate the certificates this way, right? That they are not falsified because they will expire. But what they don't do is this smart contract integration, because we focus on decentralized apps of the future. So basically, decentralized app wants to monitor the smart contract data and the blockchain data in hopefully simple way. I do believe if we make a whole Atala protocol, Atala Prism protocol, into a smart contract, it will be also simpler to validate, because then smart contract will validate whether you updated the Atala credentials correctly. Yeah. So it's much easier to use it from the integration point of view. If you think, I will just check that this smart contract tells me that this is the current identity. Yeah. Instead of checking whole certificate chain in metadata on the blockchain. So I think at the moment it's just very hard to use Atala. So in the future we would like to have this smart contract that replaces Atala and allows multiple signature standards and can be imported in other smart contracts, because it's not trivial to make smart contract call another smart contract in Cardano, right? You need to permit it either way. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting vision you have.
I would love to realize it within the next 3 months, But the funding and resources notwithstanding, I think we start by signing PDF document and then maybe upgrade it to multiple signature standards. Because signing PDF documents just with using the Cardano wallet is much easier and reachable within the three or 6 months.
Sure.
And then the next question would be how to convince PDF standard holders to accept Cardano signature, which is omitted from PDF standard at the moment. We can put the signature in any encryption algorithm. The standard is quite flexible, but nobody will check it. Nobody will say it's conforming to the recommendation. So there is a little bit need for the further push, but we don't want to wait until the next encryption standard for post-quantum will be present everywhere, because like honestly, nearly every application on the web now has terms of service, has a contract for the hiring, has something to sign, right? So we need to sign these documents. And of course, my dream is that blockchain replaces all this bureaucracy that I have to fulfill every year, on sometimes in some cases every month. And that is kind of a shortcut. If you ever worked with digital, so I used a digital bureaucracy in 3 or 4 different countries, like US, Germany, Singapore, and Poland. And I see that it really depends how it is implemented. So basically, it's very difficult to fill some of the paperwork if they are not well done. I do hope that there will be some kind of competing solution that country will just accept that it is signed document and it contains the content, right, in their format. But maybe we can have in the future multiple providers for these bureaucratic services, right? Not a monopoly like it is in Poland. There is only one standard way of submitting digital bureaucracy. And I believe the same problem exists in US, where the companies that organize the tax filing somehow, in theory, it should be open standard, right, for the electronic communication of tax filing with the public institution. But in practice, the standards that are used there are not really that open and not really that well published. And there is actually a lobbying ongoing, it seems, at least according to some newspapers, there's lobbying ongoing to make this open, basically open documents, right? Available in digital form as late as possible, which is contradictory to the spirit of the law, because if it's law, it should be open and public. Otherwise, you cannot really call it a law, right? I believe there was also another project in Catalyst that was very interesting. They planned to make a set of documents for standard contracts that people involved in Cardano development may sign, like partnership contract or token issuance or token underwriting contract or hiring contract, like employment contract. And then if you don't show it as PDF, then you risk that whatever you show will change with each version of the browser, which is not really good for contracts, I would say. Lacks permanency and confidence, I would say.
So have you thought of any other types of data you would like to see streamed out of StreamCardano? In particular, stuff that interests you, that you want someone to come along and say, oh, can you provide these data postings?
Is it a question to us or to others?
Anybody? But yeah, I mean, it's your service, so I guess what would you like to see? Is there any particular data that you want to be serving?
So we are the first customer for StreamCardano, and our dream is to have fully decentralized and serverless application deployment. Then we can do new applications like AdaStamp, right? Or use AdaStamp actually for new applications.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just push to the Git repository. This Git repository will run the CI/CD, and then it deploys a new version of smart contract to say pre-prod, the tested. It deploys a new user interface using StreamCardano on the backend to a web page on IPFS or on even on own server. And then when we feel it's ready for major release, then we deploy it to production.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can only focus on software development and nice features that users want. But obviously, first we need to build it ourselves.
Yeah. So you talked about StreamCardano as the back end, but that in and of itself you want to be decentralized as well, no?
So that's long-term dream. I would dream that it would be decentralized, because basically what happens if you look at the current internet, the key to understanding why internet has so much data flowing and is still so fast is one abbreviation: content delivery network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically decentralization mechanism for the conventional internet, and it's imperfect because it's not transparent. Each company has a different CDN, handles it differently. They are great providers, but it's just one step ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to replace CDNs with future fully decentralized Cardano, but I think before that happens, that's a few years yet. But in the long term.
Isn't the risk that if we don't work toward it now, we'll never get there? Like, because we've got a lot of
We work toward it. Yeah, we work toward it.
There's a whole load of centralization has a whole load of benefits in terms of speed in particular, and that's the big one that we need to crack. Actually, we just need it's such a big problem, such a big challenge. We need to working on it now. So I don't. Have you seen Dandelion and Dandelion node infrastructure from Gimbal Labs and?
Yes. So I love the fact that people make so many indexers, but in my opinion, most of them duplicate work, and unfortunately, they do a lot of extra work. So we wrote StreamCardano because it offers you more flexibility at less effort than Gimbal Labs or Blockfrost. So basically, we reached the limits of Blockfrost in the contract, in the project that we wrote like 1 year ago, and then we decided to do StreamCardano.
In terms of the queries that you were putting together, or just
yes, basically what kind of queries? The queries and polling are two main things, but queries mainly. Mm-hmm. The polling, people can still accept. Then multi-second delays, so no problem with that. But the queries, that was limiting. And the problem is that with Dandelion, for each new application that you want to deploy, so I dream about a future where we have a lot of decentralized startups that don't need to host their own infrastructure. And to my understanding, most of these indexers nowadays, basically you need to host your own server with 4 or 5 nodes and so on. Right? Yeah. So that's not serverless. Serverless Dandelion, maybe that would.
Well, I think that's the definition, the aspiration of Dandelion is that the technology that's being packaged together in a simple way that anybody can deploy.
But I'm not telling anybody to get them deploy. I would say in the future, ideally, nobody needs to deploy it because somebody will share it with you, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So instead of a project operator running the infrastructure, actually it becomes part of the whole network layer of Cardano. So stateful operators, node operators just run a Dandelion node as a paid service alongside their existing state or whatever. And then we just have StreamCardano as an additional API interface on that infrastructure layer. So anybody can be serving the poll requests and stuff like that.
So the dream is similar, right? So I also would like it to happen, but what I see now is the disincentive. So basically, hosting Dandelion now, unless you host an application, is costly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think the hope is the next year we come up with some kind of way to fund, because block frost is crucial, but at the moment, but again, it's kind of centralized. So if we can have but it's a paid for service. So if we can have a paid for service that is actually operating decentralized, and block frost have been great. They opened up there.
I've been offering already during the closed beta that anybody who wants to replace block frost or have alternative to block frost will hope to use it.
Right, cool.
Yeah. The thing is, for every query that you can do with block frost, certainly you can do it with StreamCardano, and it will probably take like a day to port everything you have in your repository at most. It's just a matter of rewriting the queries. We cannot be compatible with block frost, but because that would make us very expensive. You have much simpler and better solution. Please look at it.
And there's no need to recreate.
It's really simpler.
Yeah, it exists. There's no need to recreate it, but we just need more and more alternatives, and it's the underlying layer that we need to get decentralized. So block frost open sourced theirs, and so now Dandelion have the ability to serve the block frost API from the Dandelion Kubernetes infrastructure. So I think it's that sort of effort that's really getting us somewhere. And the idea then that AdaStamp could switch on the nearest node, like you were describing earlier. It's what we want to see. It would be great, very cool. And if there's a revenue model that's bringing back some kind of revenue share with the original creators, with StreamCardano, with block frost, with Dandelion operators,
So when you query a Cardano node, you don't pay for it, right?
No.
Because the stake pool operator usually takes this cost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So basically you operate the stake pool and you operate the node and so on. So now
by the 20%.
would it be imaginable that we somehow incentivize it that stake pools that host StreamCardano API, because it's really API, it's not kind of proprietary system, it can be open source, but the API is the key, right? So flexible query API for the whole blockchain, that we publish this API as a service, and every stake pool can be somehow verified that it hosts it. That would be one way to do it, right? The other way, of course, is pay per call, but yeah, then you need to basically have credit in your account when your smart contract needs to query the blockchain, and that's expensive. So now we basically rely on this infrastructure, and we need to pay somehow for it to make it everywhere. So I don't know what will be the best API, right, to win it. I would hope that it will be as simple as StreamCardano, so flexible. But it is still API. You can clone it, anything. As long as you provide the same service, it will be perfect, right?
And every app is going to want to use a different API. So we should have a multi.
That's why I propose StreamCardano. Basically, it's API that can answer any question. You don't need to configure anything. Just ask a different query.
I think about it as decentralized over time as well. So if we have we build an app 2022, we have an API spec 2022, then that needs to exist in perpetuity. But then if in 5 years' time someone is still using it, that's fine, it keeps working. But there's another alternative. There's a new API out, new types of queries, new functionalities available. We're querying midnight as well as
but that would be a problem potentially, right? Because what you see is if people are incentivized to host only in the latest API, then you don't have long-term livelihood for the old apps. Yeah.
Mm.
So the whole point of decentralization is this idea that when you have these nodes that maintain the ledger, then you have something that you can refer to after 10 years or after 20 years. And it hasn't been falsified because it's just very improbable. And that you can record some correctness conditions for your transactions that will be maintained there, right?
Yeah.
And if you cannot really use the API version 1 forever,
but then but he will be it's like
unless you find the way to port it. But I think it's very important that we have kind of this long-term solution for Cardano. Not that every application needs to add its own call to BlockFrost, because that's not feasible. That's not a long-term solution. The initial wave of the smart contract applications, for example, they had to use their own wallet. That's also not feasible, right, in the long term.
Yeah,
it has to be smart wallet.
It's almost like a fee structure. So if you're providing an old API that few people are using, but it's expensive for you to maintain because it uses old tech and high resource, then there's a fee structure that rewards you as a provider of that. But if you're using the latest and greatest, and there's other opportunities to use it, then it's cheaper for you.
So for long-term infrastructure projects, like, for example, in Germany or in most countries, there is so-called archival service that is supposed to take these databases that were used for some time, make them available for the next 20 years. I have talked with people that work in German archival service, and after some discussion, the best way for long-term storage of databases was considered a format that is basically SQLite. So basically, port the old databases to a single database and just make this database very agile, very, very small, because SQLite doesn't need server or anything. So you can open it on your own machine. Maybe there would be such a solution for blockchains in the future. Port it all to one blockchain, because it already becomes essential part of infrastructure.
Yeah, I can imagine that. If you're running something old, you just have your own node, an SQLite equivalent of Cardano circa 22.
So if you look at any archive, like web archive, you don't probably see signatures. But if in software archives, most of software archives have hashes and signatures. Now these hashes get outdated when MD4 got hacked. And there will be more like this. So long-term archiving basically requires you to add more signatures to confirm that these signatures were valid at some certain point of time. So you like append after MD4, you re-sign it, everything with ACE256, that this signature was valid at this point of time. Why? Because in future, somebody will hack the mirror and replace some files. And then by that time, MD4 can be easily hacked, so they can replace the old files with some Bitcoin mining software, right? And there are always people that need to look in the past, not just detectives, right? Not just historians. If the documents are not held for 10s and 20 of years, they're not documents anymore. So in Poland, we have this problem that, for example, a lot of documentation of the old buildings is missing because it was burned in 2 world wars. That means that each time they dig for making a new pipe or new cable, there is significant risk that there will be
some legacy
big thing.
Yeah.
I know that the same thing happens in some states of the United States because they have very, very bad archiving system, right? But ideally, archives should live forever and be ported to microfilms and then to digital and be preserved, because otherwise you never know what happened there.
Yeah. So it's kind of baffling to think about an archive of the Cardano blockchain, but yeah. But yeah, it will be needed. And I suppose
and the problem with archiving is that the best time to start is before the original team is disbanded or closed or reformed for other purpose, which basically means Cardano should start creating Cardano archive now. Because then afterwards they never document it, because there will be nobody interested in it. Like somebody got a better job.
Yeah. And the challenge is the hardware, underlying hardware with the blockchain, I guess. If once this current hardware tech becomes obsolete, then we need a new way of running archive chains on your hardware, and that's where the sort of SQL-like equivalent comes in, I guess. Whatever the latest version of Simple is. But
SQLite is good, but it doesn't have signature scheme. You need some kind of blockchain and signatures to.
Okay. Yeah.
To make sure that what is in SQL is actually true.
Or maybe it's just emulators that will run nodes from generations ago.
Maybe. Yeah, because if you don't maintain the blockchain with upgrades of cryptographic protocols, then you lose this signature chain, and then sooner or later all the signature protocols get hacked.
Yeah, your quantum
documents forced.
Yeah.
You will get very convincing document that Louis XIV was actually a piglet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds funny until you see what the chat GPT, I think, and other AIs, and like diffusion does. The AI is faking things much more convincingly, and we can prove that they are real.
Yeah. And people are going to be turning more and more to AIs for their answers to everything. It's like the equivalent of Googling, but instead of filtering your search results, you just accept the answer. And even thinking about, in lifetime stuff, we've got people writing wills, putting it on chain. If you're living 70 years, 80, 90 years, then and there's still relevant things in it from back then the quality of that data has got to be, and the veracity of it has got to be upheld for a lifetime, which is still a long period of time, let alone historical archives as well, which is even longer. But our technology moves on so quickly that things become obsolete very, very fast. Yeah, lots of challenges. It's good fun though.
On the upside is that obviously the blockchain is our main savior against cryptocalypse, right?
Cryptocalypse. I like it.
I mean, the fact that all the cryptographic protocols are expected to be hacked sooner or later.
Yeah, yeah.
They called it cryptocalypse when they thought that it would be one in a lifetime event. Obviously, we know it's not the case.
There'll be infinite cryptocalypses.
Yeah, that's quite likely.
Good. No, thank you for sharing. The room's gone quiet, I guess.
Yeah, maybe Faisal or HW or Soundiata or Zoe want to tell something?
Hey, I'm just here for listening and learning about what you guys were talking about. Already catch up quite something. Super nice.
Thanks for your voice and joining in.
Well, I guess to keep the recording at some kind of sensible length, we should perhaps wrap that up. We can carry on chatting afterwards, but yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. I hope that we will meet again in January on the same topic. I do hope that other people that plan to have serverless, maybe serverless Dandelion, that would be awesome. I will invite them.
I know Roberto, and he loves to talk, so yeah, I'm sure he'd be up for that.
So I will also leave my Telegram email again, in case somebody wants to get invited. Please, to everybody, in particular to you, Jonathan, that you write to us so we can keep in touch.
Sure, yeah. I will. I'll do that now.
Simon, can you? Finish the record. Can you finish?
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Good.